Hi there. Welcome to day 10, module 10 of how to buy your first rental property in Cleveland, Ohio in 2026 or 2027. So step 10 is estimate repairs realistically. What does that mean? So everybody has their idea, but from somebody who has been here working in this market for over 25 years and working with contractors and even in the past doing some work myself years ago, I know a little bit about the repairs. Things have always been a little difficult in this market. Even people from places I wouldn't have thought had issues, they come in here and they're always a little bit surprised by the quality of the contractors. And that being said, all the prices have increased in general for contracting and cost of repairs. So since COVID. So you want to be realistic. You also can't just price yourself way above anything, right? So when you're doing the repairs, you want to first of all recognize that there are certain things that you need to make sure that you have handled if necessary. Especially in Cleveland, you have to make sure that you're dealing with anything having to do with lead-based paint. So work that into your repairs. If it's not cleared with the city now, be open to the fact that you could have issues. So that's an unknown that you have to deal with. So you want to make sure that you deal with lead. That's number one. With lead, the biggest issue that's most dangerous, the single biggest risk, whether it's Cleveland itself or not, is wooden windows. So just make sure you handle those. Figure on $300 to $500 per window if it's a wooden window, and don't back down. Put that into your offer. So like we've talked about, most properties in Cleveland are 70 to 100 years old. So just put a factor in, even if everything seems to be working and new, that some factor for the possibility of old pipes failing. Even the pipes outside for the drain could be failing. The foundation, you don't have to have an expert to look to see if there's odd cracks or shifting, right? I love those personally, but those are actually harder to estimate. So look into that, make sure that you're factoring for things like that. Mechanical systems age. So figure on trying to make sure that the main things are not going to go bad right away, and figure that as part of the purchase price. And that'll help you have a much better long-term return, because emergency repairs are a lot more costly especially when there's a tenant in place later on. So figure all of those things out. And if you have questions, now generally I like to figure on doing things a little nicer. So things like the kitchen's a little old. I prefer to paint the kitchen, put updated modern hardware on the cabinet doors. There's many easier contractors that have low cost granite or stone countertops that you can put in for $33 a square foot. Most of these kitchens are not huge, so that's not a huge cost, but the appeal is very high. So I recommend updating that. One thing that you can sometimes save money on is if you have hardwood floors, even really terrible hardwood floors, sometimes you can put a distressed finish on those for very inexpensively. And so just scraping them, distressing them slightly, and then putting more of like a dark finish, and then scraping it again, and then glossing over it. Things like that are a possibility. So anyways, if you're not sure about prices, feel free to text repairs, and we have a little worksheet that you can use for going through the checklist on what you need to look at for potential repairs. And so it's a little checklist / worksheet you can fill out per house quickly. The other thing is that for individual line items, if you're trying to dial in, hopefully the person is helping you find the house. If you're getting any help, can give you some range. But just remember, no one knows for sure. Okay, unless you have a bid from someone who specifically looked at it, has tried and true, has a long background and history of being there for people, and is willing to commit to that exact amount to repair it for a certain period of time, you're never 100% sure. But you can usually find a verbal range pretty quickly on some of the more unknown items. And especially with AI, that can help a little bit. And also there's many estimator websites that can help you narrow in some of the more unknown items that you're not sure about. And one of those is homewise.com. It's HOMEUYSE.com. Again, you can text repairs or email back repairs. I'm not sure how this video is delivered to you, and repairs first thing in the email, or just the word repairs in a text message, and we'll be glad to send you our repairs worksheet as well as any resources we have at the time that you request for that to help you estimate those repairs. So tomorrow we're going to be talking about step 11, which is how to run conservative numbers and estimates in find out like rental values so you can make a great offer.